My dear brothers and sisters, if this message has reached your ears before November 6, congratulations. You are not late, you are right on time. Listen closely. Because this is not just a message, this is a signal. There are moments in life when heaven sends you a whisper disguised as coincidence. And right now, heaven is whispering to you, get ready, something is about to change. Why November 6? Because before that date, a door stands open in front of you. A door that will not stay open forever. Most people sleep through the sound of opportunity. They are waiting for a perfect day, a perfect sign, a perfect confirmation. But those who are awake, those who recognize the divine nudge, they walk through the door when it's open, not when it's convenient. You see, this message is not about a date on a calendar. It's about your season of divine timing. The reason you are hearing this today is because the invisible world has aligned with your heart. You are standing on the edge of a spiritual turning point. And if you dare to believe before November 6, something powerful can be birthed in your life. Perhaps you have been praying, waiting, or wondering when your breakthrough would come. Let me tell you, it is not coming someday, it is coming now. But it requires faith. It requires movement. Before November 6, take one bold step toward your dream, your purpose, your calling, because faith without action is like a seed never planted. But faith with action, it shakes heaven. So, congratulations once again. This message did not find you by accident. You are marked for change. You are standing on holy ground, a threshold moment in time. And when you look back after November 6, you will say, that was the message that woke my spirit up. There are moments in life when time itself feels ordinary, like sand slipping through our fingers. But then, every so often, something happens. Something unseen yet unmistakable that interrupts our rhythm and makes us pause. That interruption, my friends, is divine timing. It is heaven's way of saying, this is your moment. If this message has reached you before November 6, you are not hearing it by coincidence. You are hearing it because a divine schedule has been activated in your life. Divine timing is not human timing. We measure time in seconds, minutes, and days. But heaven measures time in seasons, alignments, and purpose. When divine timing arrives, things that seem stuck suddenly begin to move. Doors that refuse to open start to creak with possibility. What you prayed for months or even years ago begins to stir beneath the surface. Divine timing is that invisible hand that rearranges everything around you to bring you into the right place at the right moment. Think about it. Every major turning point in your life had something to do with timing. You met a certain person not because of luck, but because heaven arranged your steps to cross paths. You avoided a certain situation not by chance, but because heaven closed a door to protect your destiny. When you look back, you realize that all those delays, all those detours were not rejections, they were redirections. And now the timing has shifted once more. That's why you're hearing this message today. For many, the problem isn't lack of opportunity. It's lack of awareness. People often miss divine timing because they are too distracted, too discouraged, or too doubtful to notice that heaven has placed a new opportunity right in front of them. Divine timing doesn't always arrive with trumpet sounds or flashing signs. Sometimes it comes softly through a whisper, a nudge, or even a message like this one. Simple but powerful, calling your attention to something greater stirring behind the scenes. You see, there are moments when God accelerates what would normally take years into days. That's divine timing. Acceleration without explanation. When it's your time, you don't need to chase after blessings. Blessings begin to chase after you. Favor starts to recognize your name. What was once hard becomes easy. What once drained you now fuels you. Everything begins to line up, as if heaven itself is saying, now. And this window before November 6 is not just another page on your calendar. It's a divine alignment, a spiritual intersection where heaven meets your readiness. This is the moment where you decide whether to stay in the comfort of the familiar or step into the flow of divine timing. Because when heaven opens a window, it doesn't stay open forever. Opportunity by its nature is temporary. The wise recognize it, the faithful respond to it, and the bold act upon it. Let me remind you, divine timing rarely feels convenient. It often appears when you least expect it, and sometimes when you feel least prepared. But that's the beauty of it. Divine timing doesn't depend on your readiness. It depends on God's purpose. You may say, I'm not qualified, I'm not strong enough, I'm not ready. But heaven says, you don't need to be ready, you just need to be willing. Because when divine timing arrives, grace makes up the difference. Grace fills the gap between who you are and who you're called to be. Some of you have been waiting for years, praying for a breakthrough, a change, a confirmation. And maybe you started to believe that time had passed you by. But divine timing is never late. It may not move at your speed, but it never misses its mark. The waiting season was not wasted. It was preparation. Every disappointment, every closed door, every unanswered prayer. It was shaping your faith for this exact moment. If you can feel even a small stirring inside your heart right now, that's not emotion. That's recognition. Your spirit recognizes divine timing when it appears. It's that deep, quiet awareness that says, something is shifting. Something is about to happen. You may not have all the details, but you can sense it. That sense is heaven's invitation to move, to act, to believe again. When divine timing aligns with human obedience, miracles are born. The right person appears. The right opportunity surfaces. The right door opens. Things that once seemed impossible begin to unfold naturally. It's not that the world suddenly changed. It's that the clock of heaven struck your hour. That's why this message found you. You didn't stumble upon it. It was sent to you before November 6th. Something within you is being called to awaken. A dream, a purpose, a decision, a leap of faith. You may not understand everything now, but later you will look back and realize that was the moment heaven whispered now. So don't dismiss this timing as ordinary. Don't scroll past it. Don't shrug it off. And don't delay what you know you are meant to begin. The same God who orchestrated this moment knows exactly where you are and what you need. Trust His timing even if it feels uncertain. Because when divine timing arrives, all of creation conspires to move you forward. You are not behind schedule. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. Because divine timing has found you. And when divine timing finds you, everything changes. There comes a moment in every person's life when something inside begins to stir. A quiet unrest that whispers you were made for more. That whisper is not ambition. It is not pressure from the world. It is a divine call, a call to awakening. And if this message has reached you before November 6th, it means that heaven has chosen this very hour to awaken something powerful within you. You have been asleep for too long, not in your body, but in your spirit. You have been alive, but not truly living, moving, but not progressing, surviving, but not thriving. This is your wake-up call. The world around you might appear ordinary, the same routine, the same struggles, the same faces, but something in the unseen is shifting. The winds of the Spirit are moving, and those who are awake will feel it. This call is not for everyone. It is for those who sense deep down that there is more to their story than what they see right now. Before November 6th, heaven is issuing a gentle yet urgent invitation. Wake up, lift your eyes, shake off the dust of delay, disappointment, and doubt. For your season of awakening has arrived. A call to awakening is never comfortable. It interrupts your sleep. It disturbs your comfort zones. It challenges the excuses that kept you still. That is why so many ignore it. But you, my friend, are not among those who ignore divine summons. You have heard too much truth to stay asleep, and you have carried too much purpose to keep living small. This awakening is not about religion, position, or reputation. It is about connection. The connection between you and the one who placed purpose inside of you before you were even born. When the Spirit calls you to awaken, it is because something new is ready to be born in you. Dormant dreams begin to move again. Forgotten visions come back to life. Where you once said, it's over, heaven says, it's just beginning. Every great movement, every transformation begins with an awakening. No one can rise to greatness while sleeping through their divine moment. The awakening begins when you finally realize that the voice calling you is not asking for perfection, only response. Perhaps life has tried to lull you back into silence. You faced setbacks, heartbreaks, and disappointments that made you believe the fire inside you was gone. But it's not gone. It's only been buried under the ashes of time. Before November 6th, that fire must be stirred again. That's why this message found you. It's heaven's reminder that your spirit is not finished yet. There are still promises waiting for you, still prayers that will be answered, still battles you will win. When an awakening begins, it often comes with restlessness. You begin to feel uncomfortable in places that once felt fine. The conversations you used to enjoy now feel shallow. The distractions that once filled your time now feel empty. That discomfort is not punishment. It is purpose calling you higher. The things that once satisfied you no longer can, because your spirit is being called to rise. The divine is pulling you out of what is familiar and into what is extraordinary. Some will not understand your awakening. They may call it impulsive, emotional, or unrealistic. But they do not hear what you hear. They do not feel what you feel. The awakening is not external. It is internal. It's the stirring of destiny. It's the heartbeat of purpose echoing inside your soul, saying, you can't stay here any longer. You are not meant to blend in when you were created to break through. This is the season to awaken your faith. It's time to dust off the dreams you locked away. Speak life over them again. Dare to believe that the God who planted those desires in your heart will bring them to pass. The awakening calls you to remember that faith is not just believing in God. It is believing that God still works through you. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are chosen for this moment. Before November 6th, take a step of faith toward your awakening. Begin to pray again, dream again, plan again. The time for hesitation is over. The call to awakening is not passive. It requires participation. Every awakening demands a response. The moment you say yes, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. You will find strength you didn't know you had, favor you didn't expect, and clarity where confusion once reigned. Do not wait for the perfect moment. This is the moment. The awakening has already begun, and it's calling your name. The same voice that spoke light into darkness is speaking life into your spirit right now. You may not feel ready, but the one who calls you is ready to empower you. Heaven does not call those who are already qualified. It qualifies those who respond to the call. Imagine what could happen if you truly awakened, if you stepped out of fear and into faith, if you silenced doubt and began to act on the dreams that scare you most. Imagine if, instead of saying, maybe one day, you said, why not now? That's the spirit of awakening. It's the moment when you stop waiting for a sign and realize that this message is the sign. So wake up, dreamer, wake up, believer, wake up, visionary. Before November 6th, lift your head and look again. The same world that looked ordinary yesterday is filled with opportunity today because your eyes are open. The same life that felt heavy before will feel lighter now because purpose has returned to your heart. You will begin to notice things differently. You will sense divine timing aligning with your obedience. The call to awakening is the bridge between where you are and where you are destined to be. And when you respond, not just with words, but with action, you will feel heaven's confirmation echo in your soul. You heard me, you moved, and now I will move for you. So rise. The dawn of your awakening has come. Before November 6 passes, let the sleeping parts of your spirit awaken. Because this time, the world will see the real you, the awakened, empowered, unstoppable you. This is your moment. Answer the call. There are seasons in life when the ordinary rhythm of days suddenly slows down, and you can sense that something sacred is unfolding. It feels as if time itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to notice. That is what we call a window of opportunity, a moment in which heaven opens a door and invites you to step through. It doesn't stay open forever, and it doesn't appear every day. It is rare, it is divine, and it carries the potential to change your destiny. If this message has reached you before November 6, it is not random. It means a window of opportunity has opened in front of you, and the clock has already started ticking. Opportunities from heaven are not like the ones the world offers. They don't always come with flashing lights or applause. Sometimes they appear quietly, disguised as a simple idea, an unexpected meeting, a sudden nudge in your heart to do something bold. But behind that quiet invitation lies a divine orchestration that has been in motion for longer than you can imagine. God does not throw doors open at random. Every opportunity He sends is perfectly timed to the growth of your faith, the readiness of your heart, and the maturity of your purpose. Many people pray for opportunities, but few are prepared to recognize them when they come. Why? Because divine opportunities rarely look convenient. They may appear in moments of chaos when you feel unready or underqualified. Yet those are the moments heaven loves most, when the impossible meets your obedience. The truth is, the window is open right now, and it will not remain open indefinitely. What you choose to do in this window will define the next chapter of your life. Every open window carries a sound. It whispers, "Move now." There is an urgency in it, not to pressure you, but to awaken you. Heaven knows that hesitation is the enemy of destiny. Fear whispers, "Maybe later," but faith answers, "If not now, when?" The window of opportunity is not waiting for your perfection. It is waiting for your decision. Some of the greatest blessings are lost not because people are incapable, but because they hesitate. The window passes, and only then do they realize what could have been. But if you are hearing these words today, that means it's not too late. The window is still open, and grace is calling your name. Before November 6, you will be presented with choices, moments that test your courage and your trust. It might be a decision to take a step you've been delaying, to begin something new, to forgive, to reconcile, or to pursue that dream that once scared you. Do not underestimate these moments. They may seem small, but they are sacred. What you decide to do now will ripple through your future in ways you can't yet see. Every act of faith plants a seed that heaven waters. The window of opportunity doesn't just test your boldness, it also reveals your vision. Can you see beyond what is visible? Can you discern the divine invitation hidden in ordinary circumstances? The world says opportunity comes once in a lifetime, but heaven says opportunity appears every time your heart aligns with divine purpose. The real question is, are your eyes open to see it? You can't step through what you don't recognize. That's why discernment is so important in this hour. Not every door that opens is yours, and not every delay is denial. The window you are meant to walk through will resonate with peace in your spirit, even if fear trembles in your flesh. When a divine window opens, it doesn't just change your situation, it transforms you. It pulls you out of complacency, out of small thinking, and into a realm of faith where you must depend completely on God. You can't go through this window carrying the weight of old fears or the baggage of past disappointments. To enter this new season, something old must be left behind. The doorway is narrow because it was never meant for your fear to fit through, only your faith. You might wonder, what if I fail? But what if you don't? What if this is the moment when everything begins to align, when your obedience meets divine favor? Failure doesn't happen when you try and stumble. Failure happens when you never try at all. The window of opportunity is not about guaranteeing success. It's about responding to divine timing. When heaven opens a door, even a small step is enough to invite miracles. Think of every major breakthrough in history. It began when someone recognized a fleeting moment and acted upon it. The same principle applies to your life. There are moments when you must stop analyzing, stop doubting, and simply move. Action births clarity. The moment you step forward, even trembling, heaven multiplies your courage. You begin to see the path that was invisible a moment ago. The open window does not reveal everything in advance. It simply invites you to trust. Some of you have been praying for change, for a sign, for confirmation. This message is your confirmation. The very fact that you are hearing this before November 6 means the window is open. Don't wait for a better time. This is the time. Don't wait for more resources. What you have is enough for your first step. Heaven never calls you to walk by sight, only by faith. When you move in faith, the provision follows the vision. Remember this. Opportunity is time sensitive, but purpose is eternal. The window will close, but the impact of your obedience will last forever. Every act of faith within this window builds momentum for your future. Don't be among those who look back wishing they had acted when the moment was right. Be among those who will look back and say, that was the day I chose faith over fear. That was the day everything changed. The window is open now. Right before you, you can almost feel the breeze of destiny brushing against your heart. It's whispering for you to move, to step, to believe again. Don't overthink it. Just respond. Heaven is not asking you to have it all figured out. Heaven is simply asking you to say yes. And when you do, when you take that first step before November 6th, the world around you will shift. Doors will open that you never imagined. Favor will find you in unexpected places, and what once seemed impossible will begin to unfold naturally. Because when you move through a divine window of opportunity, you are not just walking into a new season, you are walking into the future heaven prepared for you all along. There comes a point in every journey where faith and fear stand face to face, and you must choose which one will lead you forward. Fear is loud, convincing, and familiar. It tells you to stay where you are, to wait until things feel safe, to avoid the risk of disappointment. Faith, on the other hand, speaks softly but carries power. It doesn't shout, it whispers go. It doesn't guarantee comfort, it promises purpose. The moment this message reached you before November 6th, heaven placed you at that crossroads, the moment where you must decide whether to let fear hold you back or let faith carry you forward. Fear is not your enemy, it is your test. It is the resistance that reveals what truly matters to you. If there were no fear, there would be no need for faith. But fear loses its strength the moment you move in spite of it. Faith was never about feeling brave. It was about believing something greater than your fear. Every hero, every visionary, every person who ever walked into their divine calling did it with trembling hands. They didn't wait for fear to disappear. They stepped forward while fear screamed at them to stop. That is what faith does. It moves even when your emotions disagree. Fear will always give you reasons to stay small. It will remind you of every past failure, every rejection, every what if. It will magnify the risks and minimize the rewards. It will whisper, you tried before and it didn't work. Why try again? But faith says, try again, because this time divine timing is on your side. Fear wants to keep you safe. Faith wants to make you strong. Safety is temporary, but strength is eternal. And this window before November 6 has been opened to give you one more chance to choose strength over safety. Faith and fear both require belief. The difference lies in what you believe in. Fear believes in your limits. Faith believes in your destiny. Fear sees obstacles. Faith sees opportunity. Fear says, what if it goes wrong? Faith says, what if it goes right? The same energy you spend worrying could be spent believing. The same imagination that paints pictures of failure can paint visions of victory. The question is, which story will you feed? Because what you feed grows. If you feed fear with your focus, it will paralyze you. If you feed faith with your attention, it will empower you. There will never be a perfect time to act in faith. Faith does not wait for clarity, it creates clarity. It doesn't ask for proof, it becomes proof. That's why so many miss their divine moment. They want guarantees before they move. But heaven never promises you a map, only a direction. The direction is clear, forward, before November 6. Take the step you've been delaying, even if it's small. That one act of obedience can shift the atmosphere of your entire life. Heaven does not need your perfection. Heaven needs your participation. Some people say they are waiting for God to move, but often God is waiting for them to believe. Fear keeps you praying for rescue. When faith is calling you to rise, you have already been equipped with everything you need to take the next step. The problem is not lack of power, it's lack of permission. The permission you must give yourself to believe again. Faith begins where excuses end. When you stop saying, I can't, you make room for heaven to say, watch what I can do through you. The most dangerous thing about fear is that it disguises itself as wisdom. It tells you that waiting is smart, that caution is safety, that small thinking is humility, but wisdom from heaven never paralyzes, it empowers, it gives direction, not doubt. Fear will keep you in the same place year after year, convincing you that it's not the right time. But faith says, if this message reached you before November 6, This is your time. Fear keeps your blessings locked behind hesitation. Faith turns the key. Faith does not mean you will not feel afraid. It means you will not let fear decide your future. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something greater is worth the risk. When you walk in faith, you don't deny reality. You declare that there is a greater reality beyond what you can see. Fear looks at the storm and says, this is too dangerous. Faith looks at the same storm and says, if I step out now, the waves will hold me because the one who called me is faithful. Think about how many dreams die not because they are impossible, but because fear whispers, maybe later. Fear thrives on delay. It knows that the longer you wait, the colder your courage becomes. But faith is like fire. It grows hotter when you use it. When you act on faith, even in small ways, momentum builds. Heaven multiplies movement. Every step you take in faith sends a message to the unseen world. I trust the one who called me. And that trust draws favor, provision, and breakthroughs into alignment. Before November 6th, decide to act in faith, not fear. Send the message, apply for the opportunity, start the project, forgive the person, take the leap. Fear will not vanish. It will only shrink as you move. What you face with faith today will no longer control you tomorrow. This is not just about courage, it's about alignment. Heaven has already opened the way. Now your faith must match heaven's timing. Remember, fear builds walls, but faith builds bridges. Fear looks down, faith looks up. Fear freezes, faith flows. Every time you choose faith, you are not just defying fear, you are partnering with divine purpose. You become a vessel through which heaven manifests power on earth. When you walk in faith, you carry light into dark places, and that light begins to change everything around you. So do not wait for the fear to disappear. It won't. But if you move forward anyway, you will discover something miraculous. Faith was stronger all along. Every step you take will make the voice of fear quieter and the presence of courage louder. And when you look back after November 6, you will realize that fear was only an illusion, a shadow that vanished the moment you walked toward the light. An invitation is clear. Let faith, not fear, write your next chapter. Step forward even if your hands shake. Speak even if your voice trembles. Believe even when your heart doubts. Because the miracle is not waiting somewhere out there. It's waiting on the other side of your obedience. When you move in faith, heaven moves with you. And when heaven moves with you, nothing can stand against you. This is your moment. This is your test, and this is your victory. If you choose faith over fear. Transformation is one of the greatest promises heaven gives to those who believe. It is not just a change of circumstances, it is a change of identity. It is the process through which everything you have been, everything you have endured, and everything you have dreamed of begins to merge into who you were truly meant to become. When this message finds you before November 6, it is not simply congratulating you. It is announcing that the promise of transformation has begun. Something inside you is about to shift permanently. The things that once limited you will no longer define you. The battles that once drained you will soon refine you. Transformation does not happen overnight. It begins quietly. Like a seed buried deep in the soil, nothing seems to change at first. On the surface, everything looks the same. But underneath, the unseen work has already started. That is how heaven operates. Before it manifests outside, it first takes root inside. You might not feel transformed yet, but the fact that you are hearing these words means the process has already been activated. The promise is not that everything will suddenly become easy. The promise is that everything will start to make sense. Real transformation begins with surrender. You cannot step into the new while clinging to the old. The past cannot travel with you into your next season. That's why transformation often feels uncomfortable, because something in you must die for something greater to be born. The old fear, the old identity, the old limitations, they begin to break apart so the new version of you can rise. It may hurt, but it's holy pain. Just like gold is refined through fire, you are being refined through faith. The fire does not destroy. It reveals what's pure. Before November 6, you will sense moments of stretching, moments that challenge you, moments that make you question if you're truly ready. That's not a sign of weakness. It's the evidence of transformation. Growth always feels uncomfortable because it pushes you beyond what you thought possible. The caterpillar cannot remain in its cocoon forever. Eventually, it must push against the walls that once protected it. What once was safety becomes restriction. And so it breaks free, not because it hates the cocoon, but because it knows there's more beyond it. You are in that stage now. Heaven is calling you to push through the final layer of the old season so you can emerge renewed. Transformation also changes the way you see the world. The same challenges that once discouraged you will begin to look like opportunities. The same people who doubted you will soon witness your rise. You will no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you will say, "This is happening for me." That is when you know the promise is unfolding. The shift is not only in your circumstances, but in your perception. You begin to see from a higher place. And when your vision changes, your destiny accelerates. Many people pray for change, but resist transformation because transformation requires letting go. You cannot hold on to your past and embrace your future at the same time. You must choose which one to keep. The beautiful truth is that transformation doesn't erase your story. It redeems it. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every delay becomes part of your testimony. What once embarrassed you will become the evidence of your resilience. The things that once broke you will become the very tools that build others. That is the power of divine transformation. It turns pain into purpose and scars into stories of strength. You may have thought you were being buried, but you were really being planted. The soil was dark, the pressure heavy, but all the while life was forming inside you. Before November 6th, some of those buried dreams will start to break the surface. You will begin to see signs of new growth, opportunities that align perfectly, peace that doesn't make sense, strength you didn't know you had. Those are the first fruits of transformation. They are proof that your waiting was not wasted. Transformation doesn't mean you will never struggle again. It means the struggle will no longer control you. You will still face storms, but now you'll walk through them with authority, not fear. You'll stop asking for life to be easy and start asking for strength to overcome. That shift alone changes everything. Heaven does not promise a life without challenges. It promises a life filled with power. When you are transformed, the things that used to intimidate you will bow before your faith. The most incredible part about transformation is that others will see it before you do. People will start to notice the peace in your voice, the confidence in your steps, the light in your eyes. They will sense that something in you has changed, even if they can't explain it. And as they watch your transformation unfold, it will awaken faith in them too. That is why transformation is contagious. One person's breakthrough becomes another person's hope. The promise of transformation is not limited by time. But there are moments when heaven releases acceleration. Before November 6th, such acceleration is being released. The process that once felt slow will begin to speed up. Doors that have been closed will start to open. Things that were hard to understand will suddenly become clear. Transformation will not just be a concept. It will become your experience. You will begin to see evidence in your decisions, your emotions, your relationships, your confidence. The shift will be visible because it's real. And when you stand on the other side of this season, you will realize that the version of you who started this journey could never have handled the blessings that are coming. That is why heaven had to transform you first. The promise was always yours, but the preparation was necessary. You had to grow into the person capable of carrying it. Every tear watered your future. Every setback built your strength. Every delay stretched your capacity. Transformation was never punishment. It was preparation for overflow. So if this message has reached you before November 6th, congratulations. You are not at the end, you are at the turning point. The promise of transformation is being fulfilled. The old you is fading, the new you is rising, and soon the world will see the evidence of what heaven has been doing in secret. This is your season to evolve, to rise, to shine. Don't fight the process. Embrace it. Because when the promise of transformation unfolds, you don't just change, you become everything you were created to be.